What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, talking today about the PlayStation 5 because it has officially been 3 years since this console came out, and in my opinion, it's been a very packed schedule. I mean, the fact that we've gotten so many exclusive games, so many weird peripherals like the PlayStation Portal and PSVR 2, and also, I mean, we've already gotten a console revision with the PS5 Slim. But today, I wanted to take a look back specifically at the exclusives. I have not only beaten every exclusive PlayStation 5 game, but I've also platinumed a bunch of them. I mean, after spending so many hundreds of hours, I feel like I am uniquely qualified to try and rank them from best to worst. Because as much as I've enjoyed Sony's output, some of these games downright suck. But let's talk about that. Hi, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as I headbutt the mic. Now, you're going to notice this is a ranking chart I found over here on tierlist.com that was made as of June 2023. I also added on the one game that came out since then, which was obviously SpiderMan II. Now, there's something funny about this list that needs to be pointed out. So this is the games that launched as PlayStation 5 exclusives. So there are a couple games here that obviously have now come to other consoles like Seafu. We also have Ghostwire. But these are games that for at least some extended period of time began as PlayStation 5 exclusives. Now, additionally, we're not talking about any games that just got a port to the PlayStation 5. So Ghost of Tsushima Collector's Edition, that's not on here. We don't see something like, obviously there's nothing like, there's no Death Stranding Director's Cut, right? Yeah, so it's just straight up games that were made for the PlayStation 5, even if they ended up on other systems later. So I actually think a lot of these games are incredibly good. I kind of wish that we had Final Fantasy Intergrade. The Final Fantasy VII Remake got a remake of the remake for the PlayStation 5 with a bunch of added content, but that, again, does not make the cut. So let's start off by talking about the launch games. Demon's Souls. Man, do I love this game. I'm a huge From Software fan in general. I'm giving that way up here at superb. So our rankings go from superb all the way down to really bad. I don't think there's any of these on this list that I have not played, but we're gonna go through this one by one because maybe there's one or two of these I haven't finished. So next up, we have another launch game, which actually comes pre-packaged and pre-installed into every PS5 game, Astros Playroom. Now, this is a game I feel like back in the day when I first played it, I enjoyed it, but it feels more, in my mind, like a cutesy, quirky tech demo. I actually replayed it when I got my PlayStation 5. What do they call this thing? There's this $200 special edition controller they released. It comes in this like ridiculously fancy box. What is this thing called? The Edge. The PlayStation Edge. The PlayStation Edge has like special haptic triggers. I like to test out new controllers and weird third-party stuff with Astros Playroom. But the more I've played it, the more I'm not exactly super into it. I'm even going to knock it down to pretty good. It's good, but I mean, the entire game's like 45 minutes long. It takes like 3 hours to get the platinum. Next up, we have the first game that I'm going to give a straight up really bad to. PlayStation Destruction All-Stars is a online crash 'em up knockoff of Twisted Metal. It's a car combat game with special moves and ultimate attacks. It was decent when it initially came out on PlayStation Plus. It was like a free game, but the servers at this point are pretty much dead. They pushed so much stupid microtransactions and stuff that the servers, I mean, the game just died so fast. You can technically still log on and play it against bots, but it's not a game you'd play very long. I mean, you can't exactly be a fan of it. I guess I'll bump it up to bad. I'm being overly harsh. It's not a good game, but it's not completely enough of a train wreck to go into really bad. Unlike Godfall. Screw Godfall. It was, honestly, it's like if Destiny was made in hell. That game is grade A dumpster fire trash. It had you playing as like these deities, battling against all sorts of different people. It was overly grindy. It had a stupid loot system. Godfall has got to be the worst PS5 game that I've played, at least thus far. The fact that it's actually an exclusive is still baffling to me. Now let's actually talk more about some specific Sony exclusives to go along with something like Demon's Souls and Astros Playroom. Let's actually go through the Insomniac games. Insomniac has undoubtedly been doing a ton of work to carry the PlayStation 5. They've already released 3 games in 3 years, none of which are ports. I don't even know how they're able to keep up with that production schedule. First up, let's talk about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I'm giving that a superb. I love Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. The fact that it has this cool interdimensional jumping system, actually opening up portals, playing as the different characters, on top of the fact that the graphics and art are truly freaking jaw-dropping. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, sometimes you play a game and even while you're playing it, you're like, oh yeah, people are going to call this a hidden gem in the future. Like, it's sold decently, but I do feel like that's one of those games that in 5 years, people are still going to look back and go, oh yeah, that was one of the first true PlayStation 5 games. I love that. But next up, let's talk about Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, again, this is a game I platinumed the heck out of. I put so many hours into Miles Morales. I even did several New Game Pluses just to go through that 10-hour story again and again and get the 10 hours of side collectibles. I gotta give that one... I'm going to give it an amazing. I do think the one downside to it, a singular problem I have with all of the Spider-Man games we've gotten thus far, is the fact that they're just so laughably easy. I love the stories, I love the characters, but just in general, if you're not cranking up the difficulty, they practically play themselves. So I'm going to give it an amazing because I still love the worlds, the characters, the writings, and of course the web swinging, but I wish that it was actually a bit tougher to defend New York City. Okay, so next up, the final of the Insomniac trilogy, which is Spider-Man II. I gotta give that a 10 out of 10. That's actually one of my favorite games in all of 2023. God, the amount of heart, the fact that we get to play as both Peter Parker and Miles Morales, both of the freaking Spider-Man, man, that game is freaking... It's a masterpiece. If you have not played Spider-Man 2, I feel like some people just watch a Let's Play. That does not convey how emotional the gameplay is. Playing it feels good, battling in it feels good, defending New York City feels good, and being Spider-Man feels incredible. But let's actually go back here. Let's talk about God of War Ragnarok. This has now been officially 1 year since it came out. God of War Ragnarok is an absolute banger. And again, I feel like it highlights what PlayStation has been trying to do and has nailed successfully. The PS5 generation has been very different from the PlayStation 4 generation, and Sony admits that they have a different battle plan for this time, which is that with the PS4 and with the PS3, they were really cranking games out. You were getting constant, ridiculous, an Uncharted game, followed by a freaking SOCOM game, followed by some sort of big port, followed by Medieval, followed by Days Gone. I mean, there was just back to back to back to back releases when it came to the PlayStation 4 generation, and I liked that. I liked being completely flooded with games, obviously. But Sony has straight up said that their goal with this generation is to have less games with more polish. That way they get higher review scores and sell for a longer period of time. And I do think they have accomplished that with games like God of War Ragnarok. A deep, impressive, beautiful, slightly tragic tale that you can play for years and years in the future. I think that overall, I like a lot of these games, but to just take a moment, reflecting on this first 3 years, it does feel weird that we only have this many games. I mean, it is way more games than some other consoles have, like the Xbox Series X obviously has way less games than this, but compared to something like the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 3, it's a tough competition. But next up, let's talk about Horizon Forbidden West and its expansion Burning Shores, which do have to be ranked separately because they are very different experiences. I really liked Forbidden West a lot. It was not quite the sequel I was expecting from Horizon. I thought it would be a bit more centered and focused, but undeniably, the freaking gameplay is a huge, huge step up from the original game of Horizon, which I love the story of, to Forbidden West. The amount of climbing, exploration, upgrades, swimming, all of it feels 10 times better in the sequel. But let's actually say Burning Shores, I'm going to give a superb 2. I like Forbidden West. I love Forbidden West, in fact. But Burning Shores brought that story and that grand scale to the world. Exploring a chunk of destroyed LA was just so visually impressive and so fun to do. I feel like sometimes we forget the raw fun factor of, can I pick up the controller and instantly be having a blast? Horizon Forbidden West definitely achieved that. Okay, so let's talk about some bad games. Also, why the heck is Hogwarts Legacy on this? I can't figure out how to delete stuff off this list. So let's just put it down here at never played so it's out of the way. Because, I mean, that's not a PS5 exclusive. Not at all. It's not even a timed exclusive. I don't understand that. But maybe it's a marketing exclusive? I think the person who made this list just doesn't understand what the word exclusive means. Bugsnax. Cute game, indie game, very adorable, but I like that game a lot when I first played it. The fact that it's like a indie version of Pokemon. You're catching bug snacks by eating them. They become part of your body. You can eat a strawberry or burgers. And it's a cutesy, quirky game. Very fun. But I also think it's not particularly memorable. A lot of these games I feel like stick in your mind. Bugsnax, for me, does not stick in my mind. Okay, so what do we got here? Gran Turismo, we got some Ghostwire, we got some more indie games in here. Let's talk about Gran Turismo 7. Let's put that up here at amazing. When I reviewed that, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I still feel like it's got to be one of the most accurate racing simulators of all time. But more than that, it's just incredibly freaking fun. I really enjoyed drifting the tracks, unlocking cars. I still think they have managed to fix a lot of my gripes. The original version of the game, you couldn't sell cars. You kept unlocking stuff, but like getting upgrades and stuff, the game initially was very, very grindy. They have increased the currency you earn. They've increased a lot of the race rewards. My couple problems with Gran Turismo back when it initially came out have been completely, let's say tuned up to be silly. Hell yes. God, I really got to play Gran Turismo 7 again. I do not have a PlayStation VR 2, which is why there's no PSVR 2 exclusives on this list. And, if I did, though, I definitely want to play Gran Turismo 7. If this video somehow gets 5,000 likes, I'll buy a PSVR 2 and I'll review it. I'll do some video called, PlayStation VR 2 1 year later. Okay. Ghostwire Tokyo. When I initially reviewed this, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think I'm going to go down to a pretty good. I really enjoyed Tango Gameworks. I think their work, especially with The Evil Within, is super freaking. It's just so good. But I think I've soured on this a tiny bit because when I first reviewed it, I gave it an amazing, a 9 out of 10. I love the world. I love the environment. I love the monster designs. But I do feel like I went back and played some more of it because I'm very close to the Platinum Trophy. I think there's a little bit of a shallowness to the exploration, and I don't like the fact that they force you to unlock the map. Any game that's open world that locks off parts of the environment, that can make sense narratively, but when it starts to really gate you off, and in this case they do it with literal physical gates that push back this storm of deadly fog, it's kind of gimmicky in a way that I think makes it not quite as sharp when it comes to the enjoyment. Ghostwire Tokyo is definitely still worth playing. If you have an Xbox, I believe this is on Game Pass. Play it on Game Pass. I think it goes on sale constantly on PlayStation 5 as well. I gotta buy a physical copy of it for my collection because I really want to support Tango. Okay, let's talk about some dog crap, shall we? Let's put Forspoken down here in bad. Sometimes I see these weird Forspoken defenders being like, oh, people will understand what they were trying to achieve later in life. You know what? I'm going to say it. I don't think Forspoken is a good game whatsoever. I think the dialogue is cringe. I think the magic is stupid. I think the talent trees are not particularly evocative. Just across the board, Forspoken is not a good game. And it bombed so hard that they straight up, I think the studio is already gone. So nobody who even worked on this game even works at Square Enix anymore, which I feel bad that people lost their jobs. But Forspoken was a very expensive, very cringy mess, which can be particularly bad. Now, I want to talk about this one. Oddworld Soulstorm. Some people seem to love this game. Some people seem to hate this game. It was like a big puzzle game where you're trying to basically play through a remake of one of the old Oddworld games. You're playing as Abe, trying to free the Boondocans. I really have an appreciation for a lot of the old Oddworld games. They're not for everybody because they're like 2.5D puzzlers. But I really liked Soulstorm. I really, really liked that game. I mean, it's not super groundbreaking or grandiose or high budget, but I appreciate the fact that the people that did the games came back. It's the full original team re-envisioning their original idea. But I will admit that the puzzles are very trial and error. A lot of the game feels a bit under budget, even though it's trying its best. I'm still going to give it a pretty good. I almost want to put it in amazing, but I don't think it quite fits that category. Okay, next up, Seafu. Hell yes, Seafu. I almost want to, I got to put it in superb. Screw it. I love freaking Seafu that much. Seafu is a game where you're doing like martial arts, and in it, whenever you die, instead of staying dead, you get reborn. You come back to life, but you're slightly older. So you have to try and finish the game before you die of old age. It's so freaking good. It feels like the most brutal, ridiculously quick kung fu martial arts movie. I love this game. It's now on Nintendo Switch and Xbox and PC, so get it anywhere, but it did initially launch on the PlayStation 5. They even released this special ridiculous edition called Vengeance Edition, which I had to buy because I love Seafood that much. All right, next up we got some real good games right here. Let's talk about Returnal, baby. Hell yes, Returnal. This is a roguelike that you would not realize is a roguelike. Every time you play it, you're on a time loop planet full of a bunch of crazy, hyper-evolving aliens. You can shoot them, you can dodge them, you can hit them with basically a lightsaber. I like that every time you play the game, you get completely different bonuses that increase your damage or level you up or give you shields or make it so you can actually dash more often. Every run of Returnal feels different. And it has this Metroidvania layer to it as well, where when you're playing it, you keep unlocking shortcuts via grapple hooks or by weird little twists and gate keys. Returnal is the kind of game that I feel like you gotta be smart to fully appreciate it, which as a dumb person, I'm sure there's a lot of it I don't grasp, but I freaking love that they swung for the fences and achieved it. There's often games that attempt to try and be artsy and fall short, but Returnal, they really did it. They matched the exact vibe they were clearly going for. Okay, so we got something here that I think is very good and some games that I think are very bad. The rest of these I really enjoy other than The Last of Us Part 1 Remake. I'm going to put it down here at pretty good. I almost want to put it at okay. I love the original Last of Us so much. I mean, this is why I feel I'll be honest, I feel so conflicted about this one. The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake. Technically, it is a full-blown reconstruction of the original game, but it's $70, and it doesn't have anything new. There's not new animations or side quests or cutscenes or anything. I mean, even the better AI, which is the one thing that's actually changed, doesn't really feel different. So, but the original game is already such a masterpiece. That's why I feel conflicted, is that if they gave this game away for free or as like a free upgrade if you owned the original game on PS3 or PS4 or whatever like that, I guess I love the original Last of Us. I guess I'm going to put it in a superb. I guess, yeah, let's talk about if these games were like free if we're ranking these as games you got, and we're just talking about the ability to love them without a price tag, it goes in superb because it is still the freaking Last of Us. But with that price tag and with the lack of additional features, I'm going to put it down to amazing because it is still The Last of Us, but they could have did more and they chose not to, which to me does kind of suck. Okay, next up, Kenna Bridges Spirits. This was an indie game that, again, has also come into other consoles. It's got like this Pixar-style art that's incredibly good. I really like the fact that people talk about AA versus AAA. There's these games that have, you know, cool looks and side quests and cool extra content and all that, but they are by a studio that isn't making hundreds of millions of dollars. This is a true passion project. I really like Kenna. It's really good. But, well, do I put it on amazing? Yeah, I'm going to leave it on amazing. I think it deserves to go there. Okay, next up, Sackboy's Big Adventure. This is the only game I'm going to put on okay. It's cool that you're able to play it co-op, but as a person that loved the old Little Big Planet games, Sackboy did not grab me in the way that the other ones did. Sackboy's Big Adventure is cool, but, I mean, especially if you're playing it by yourself, it's just all right. It's not really special. I never reviewed this game. I've reviewed almost every single thing on this list. I think this is the only game I have not reviewed. And I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, next up, Stray. Some people are going to hate me, but I got to put that up here at amazing. Look, I love cats. I literally have a cat asleep at my feet right now. My little cat, Jimmy, just sitting here at my feet, snoozing away. I love cats. It's a cat adventure. I think it's cute having this cat in a big city of robots going around and doing puzzles. Is the game deep or complex or riveting? No, but I like Stray. I am the target demographic, a cat lover that has a PlayStation. They also gave it away on PlayStation Plus, so I do like the fact that a lot of people that maybe would not have tried a purely puzzle-focused, open-ish game gave this game a shot. I love Stray. I platinumed it. I found every collectible. I do hope we get a Stray 2, even if it has, I don't know, a different cat or a dog or something like that. I just like the idea of a cute post-apocalyptic animal adventure. That really pushes my buttons. Now, finally, Crisis Core Reunion. I'm going to put that up here with superb. This is a remake of the PSP game Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, but they truly remade it. Not just graphically, they redid the controls, the combat, the action sequences. I mean, this is such a complete brick for brick, pixel for pixel reconstruction of a game I already liked. I'm still impressed by how well it came out. And now, after playing a bunch of the original Final Fantasy VII again and all the different sequels and remakes and stuff, my appreciation for this only continues to grow. But this is it. This has been the first 3 years of PlayStation. I think when it comes to exclusives, they've done very well for themselves. Could they have done better? Could they have released more games? Absolutely, unequivocally, of course. But as it currently stands, I think it's a pretty good slate. What do you guys think about this, though? What are some of your rankings? Which of these do you completely disagree with? And what has been your favorite PS5 game thus far? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please, keep dreaming. All right, you know what? I'm going to scoop this cat. This cat's been asleep at my feet. I'm going to pick you up, Jimmy. You ready? Yeah? Oh, he's stretching. Look at this old cat. He's so tired. Oh, he's asleep. This is the real star Stray. Oh. Oh, he's so sleepy. Okay, I'll let you sleep. I'm sorry. There you go, buddy. There you go. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.